Welcome, everybody. Thank you for being on for today. We're here with me, Sandra, and our guest host, John McClain. Say hi, John.
Yeah, I'm here.
On the show today, we have Don Geisler, who is the founder, president, and designated broker for Indy. And stay with us for the second half of the show, because we're going to have a Bobby Larson, who's he's a Rotary Club of Tucson, and he's the chair for the Classic Car Show. So let's jump right into the show. Don, tell us what's going on.
Hi, how are you?
Oh, we're doing great.
It's so fun to be here. Yeah, we just, as far as real estate world, what's going on, everybody knows that the market seems to have shifted a little bit. Mm-hmm. And I'm getting a lot of questions from people that are concerned on two different fronts. And of course, I think that the news that's biggest out there is interest rate changes. Mm-hmm. And the news is always reporting interest rate changes from the Fed. And sometimes that directly affects mortgage rates. Sometimes it doesn't. It has. I mean, mortgage rates have come up significantly. And then property demand. That leads to potentially a little bit less demand, which has sellers wondering, are prices starting to drop? Mm-hmm. As well as having buyers wondering, are we sitting here waiting for prices to start to drop? So it's a very interesting time to be sitting in. And it's just funny. It's always true. There's kind of no better time to do what you're doing than now,
right?
Because we know now. We always know now. We don't know what tomorrow is going to bring. We know historically they go up, they go down. Inventories go up, they go down. But what we absolutely know is what is going on today.
Yeah, there were so many buyers that were like, well, maybe prices are going to drop. I think I'll wait. And they've weighted themselves into like a 2% increase in interest
I didn't
rates.
do that.
Yeah, good for you, John.
That's so unfortunate. And because their buying power is lower now, is less now. I mean, regardless of what pricing does, it would take a significant drop, probably to offset that interest rate increase. But one of the great things about having phenomenal real estate professionals on their side, like you guys,
thank you,
is that one of the things that we focus on is creating solutions.
Right.
And so I think the biggest message that I am constantly speaking out there is we have solutions. All right. You don't. People that just grab on the news and rates are up 2 points, and so they say they're out. I'm telling you, you are losing out if you choose to do that, because your real estate professionals at Indy Realty, we have solutions for you. And so one of the things that I like to talk about is in financing. This used to be kind of a dirty word, the ARM, the adjustable rate mortgage, right? So I'm here to tell you that adjustable rate mortgage is not a dirty word. It's not a bad word. It is. Right now, we are seeing some adjustable rate mortgage products that are fantastic. Yeah. And that means that your rate is fixed. We're seeing a 7-year ARM right now. And so that rate that you get right now is fixed for 7 years. And so much happens in 7 years. I mean, we were just talking about rates go up, rates go down. So when things change, you choose to refinance along the way. You can refinance before it starts adjusting. The fact is that kind of most people don't want to think about is most people don't stay for 7 years in a house anyway. So a 7-year ARM is fantastic. And I'll just I'm not a lender. I should give you that, disclaimer. But I'll give you a recent example. I was talking to a lender friend of mine who's very good at what he does. And on the very day that the national media, the news, most things were quoting that interest rates were 7 1/8, he was literally quoting 5 1/4 on that ARM. Okay.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah, and you're fixed for 7 years. So I'm telling you, we can come up with solutions, and that's just the tip of the iceberg. There are good lending products out there. There's the potential to do buy downs, which is something we should talk about if you guys want to. All kinds of stuff out there that we can talk about to create solutions for our buyers and our sellers.
John Spur had worked with a client of ours that needed that buy down, and he was running several scenarios for the buyer. And one was actually having the seller do a 2-1 buy down. So the seller's actually contributing, sort of supplementing that mortgage payment. So they're contributing around $7,000, and it was on a $300,000 price point. That bought a 2% buy down in year one, a 1% in year two. But then on the buyer's side, the buyer could buy down their interest rate. So they're starting at a lower rate before the 2-1 kicks in. So actually combining those two strategies to really get a lot of bang for their buck. And my conversation with buyers right now is, so even if you're looking at paying points, 6 months ago, we were telling you to pay $10,000 or 10% over the asking price if you love the house, right? Mm-hmm. And so you look at what you take that 10% of asking price and put that towards your buy down, you're actually ahead of the game.
Yeah, it's fantastic. And that really hits on, what our mindset has to be right now and how we have to be thinking right now. Mm-hmm. And this is a real change, okay? Right. Because, 12 months ago and 6 months ago, we were saying, how can a buyer make their offer more presentable to a seller in a suit? And there still are competitive. There's a lot of competition still. Don't get me wrong. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But we were going in and saying, are you going to really waive your appraisal contingency? Right. Are you really going to pay seller closing costs? An almost unheard of thing in our market. And we have not really seen prices be affected yet. I don't believe that they're climbing anymore, but they're still holding. But the conversation that we're having with sellers is, in order to get that price, we are moving into, you are going to have some sort of concessions. And so that part is switching, where prices are kind of where they're at, but sellers are starting to understand they might have to participate in buy downs and contribute to buyers' closing costs in order to expand the buyer pool for the people that may have been hurt by the rates going up. And, I think it's kind of a mindset change that's really important. We used to, even when a seller would say, well, I'll pay the buyer's closing costs, but I'm stopping at just enough cost to get them in the house. And don't be asking for extras like points. And we would all specifically delete those types of contributions. Well, now we have to think about, there is so much potential value in contributing to discount points or buy downs for a buyer to get in and buy these houses, that it really needs to be on the table and be a fair discussion.
I think it saves the seller money too. If they're looking at doing a price reduction, their money goes a lot further in that buy down than what it would do in a price reduction.
That is such a great concept that we've been talking a lot about, and is a little hard for people to start to grasp, which is to get that same price, that same monthly payment for the buyer. It takes so many $1,000s to buy their rate down. Right. All things being equal, if their rate doesn't move down, you would have to move your price down $50,000 in order to make that equivalent. So, and it's kind of a complex discussion, but get with your professional.
Yeah, absolutely.
We can help you.
Yeah, just keep listening to the show. We have more great content with Don Geisler, who is the founder of Indie Realty. Thanks for spending the part of your day with us. We'll talk to you on the other side.
Hey, we are back on the air with Don Geisler, the designated broker for Indie Realty, and we were just talking a little bit about the shift in the market and how right now, I guess, there are things that sellers can do. We talked about the contributing to interest rate buy downs, but also the houses need to be ready to go too.
Yeah, I think now having a house market ready is important. And when there was literally no inventory on the market, or no inventory, I should say, staying on the market, right? Because anything we put on was being snapped up really quickly. It back a couple boom periods, 2006. Recently, I walked in houses that they were for sale, but the breakfast dishes were still in the sink, and maybe breakfast dishes from yesterday were still in the sink. And I just happened to be doing an exercise yesterday, which was a pricing CMA exercise on Tuesday, excuse me. And, one of the things I noticed as I was going through pictures of comparable properties and pricing out properties was all of the houses, I pulled a neighborhood in the southeast area, and all of the houses that were for sale were, what they had in common is they were really nice. You know, they were updated, they were clean, they were neat, they had, you know, from a marketing standpoint, they had professional photos on them, you know, so these things are important. You know, when you're going to, old school thought, when you're going to get your house market ready, get it market ready. You know, we can't just take advantage of the fact that there are 15 people lined up to take anything right now. You know, especially if you want that price point. That goes with the caveat that, you know, the right price point sells everything. So if you don't want to clean the breakfast dishes, we can sell that one too. But
at the right price point.
That's exactly right.
Yeah, I think there are a lot of things that sellers can do as far as maintenance too. When you have one thing in the house that has not been maintained, a buyer walks in and thinks that the entire house hasn't been maintained. So whether that's the paint or I love magic erasers. I'll tell you what,
greatest products.
They are amazing, and you just go through and clean all those door jambs and stuff, but it does make a difference to a buyer, and that is how one of the ways that you can separate yourself in the market is just making sure just cleanliness alone will separate you from other properties.
It's important.
It is.
Very much.
Talking about that, great points about talking about real estate professionalism and how that seems to be, we need that now more at this time.
Yeah, a lot of things go into professionalism, and I tell you that my professional world is kind of two-pronged, right? Which is, how do we best service our clients, and for me is, how do I best support, you know, my agents, my associate brokers, my, you know, how do I best support them? And one of the things I'm spending a lot of time talking about is, you know, when market shifts come, uncertainty comes. And we are a demographic that we don't, uncertainty is scary, you know, for people that do what we do. And so, you know, one of the things, and you guys always hear me saying this, is the market is shifting. What does an agent do? How do you handle your business when everything around you is talking about is negative? You know, everything you hear is negative. All the clickbait is negative. All the news is negative, because you know that's what sells. And it sounds so cliche, but you don't have to look far to find that that's what's out there on the news, right? But we're going to do, you know, a lot. I'm not going to pigeonhole myself, but I'm going to say we're going to do a lot of closed transactions in the next 12 months in our market. And so agents, you know, one of the things that I'm talking to agents about is our business, a lot of it is math. There are two parts of it that I have to sit down with an agent and say, you know, I know you don't want to hear these two things, these two words. One is math, and the other one is prospecting. So those are two words. It'll make a lot of agents just get up and turn around and leave my office right on the spot right there. You know, but you have to be doing your prospecting and have time for it. And it's so valuable right now to your consumer, because they are confused and they are hearing nothing but negative. And we have so much good stuff and so many solutions to offer them. But for yourself, you know, you have got to know there's going to be a ton of business out there. Real estate, the real estate industry in Tucson is still thriving and will be for quite a long time. And for agents, when I say it's math, here's what I'm talking about. If we sit down and we say, hey, historically it takes me 200 contacts, for example, to equal a closed transaction, and we're creating all these relationships and we're going out there, you know what? Don't sit around right now and say, let's see if I have to change that up. Let's see what the market is telling us right now, and I'll see if I have to change that. I would challenge all of my friends in the industry right now, when you sit down and do your business planning for the next 3 months, double it right now. You know, if your goal is 250 contacts, just make it 500 and go. Just go. You know, get out there and do it. And let's not wait and get stung on the backside. Let's do it now. Right? Yeah. There's a lot out there. There's a lot.
And the wild thing about that advice, you know, not being a real estate agent myself, I could see that same advice applied to any task or goal or mission. Like, okay, if what you're doing, if the amount of people you're reaching out to, the amount of contacts you're trying to make isn't working, double that. Do more. do more,
right.
give more effort to it. And usually if you do, you'll accomplish that mission. I mean, I apply that same thing to actual math, like doing math. Like I have to work twice as hard as most people because it challenges me more than most people, rather than just giving up and saying, well, I just can't do it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, for most people, it's a scary thought,
Right.
because,
Right.
but we can just look at the history, and there's a lot of ways you can put it. I'm usually very, very diplomatic, but I can say, hey, here's the issue. You want to do 20 transactions a year, but you do 3 transactions a year worth of prospecting. So it's just math. Let's do 7 times as much.
I want to plant 1 row of corn and get 3 back. Is that what you're saying?
Yes. Yeah, it's very much true. And, nobody wants to sit down and prospect relentlessly. But
Hey, Don, before we lose you, because I know we're getting ready to go into our next segment, give us an update on the building and where we're at.
So I just, I want to know. So our new flagship location at Indy Realty is located 7255 East Tanca Verde Road. And we are open and operating there. We've done kind of a little bit of a soft opening.
Mm-hmm.
We do have our certificate of occupancy and all that good stuff required to operate out there. We are going to have our grand opening celebration the day after Veterans Day, which is going to be Saturday, November 12th this year. So please be on the lookout for invitations to just come in, take a look at the new facility that we've been working so hard on, just see what we're doing, and have a little fun. And we're probably gearing toward, food trucks, and, worst thing that can happen is you come out and get a free Sonoran dog or something or other. So
Yeah, that's
mark
not bad.
that day.
That's not a bad
That sounds
day.
like a really good consequence that I can deal with.
Absolutely.
Well, I have to say the office is absolutely beautiful, and we can't wait to show it off.
Yeah,
You've done a
good time.
phenomenal job building that and the vision that you had, and I think people are going to love it.
Thank you. We're excited about all of it. We're excited about the location, and we're excited about what we're doing and our operating philosophies, of being of utmost service to our clients, and ensuring also that everybody that works with us, that works for us, has a great quality of life, is loving what they're doing.
Give us your information for someone who might want to get a hold of you, Don.
Well, again, I'm Don Geisler. I am the designated broker and CEO of Indy Realty, and my phone number is 520-869-2376. And
Thank you so
feel
much,
free to
Don.
buzz me anytime.
Thank you.
Thank you.